Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good afternoon, happy Sunday everybody. Militiaman and Crew here. It is a wonderful day. I hope everybody had a good weekend. We'll just get rolling. The Central Bank of Iraq announces comprehensive banking reform map. It's about a 4-page long report. I'll try to get to a few topics inside it. You guys can come into Militiaman and Crew at patreon.com/MMANDCREW and check it out, and realize also that we feed all that information into our Militiaman's chat room in Discord, and which is a free add-on to the Patreon. Okay, it's part of the Patreon's baby. They give that access, and so we take advantage of that, and so can you. All right, and I also added, just remember too, that I have some XRP information. If you guys know Ripple, XRP, the crypto arena, we have a new channel that has get started information, because if you don't know about it, XRP is new technology, and a lot of the world doesn't know about it, but there's a lot of people that still do. But ultimately, the bottom line is that technology is moving, and so why not learn about it, make your own decisions. We're not financial advisors by any stretch of the means. What we do is just give some information, and we read the news. But we try to be the best we can with what we know, and if we can learn all together with this XRP and some other things, related topics, have fun, enjoy. That XRP is going to be around for about 30 days for free, so for all of you that join, you won't have to worry about it anymore. So we'll still get that one rate of $9.99 US dollars, and obviously exchange rates around the world vary, so bear with us. So enjoy. I hope you guys check it out. But look, at the central bank delegation returned from the last round of negotiations with the United States Treasury and the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. They basically have revealed a roadmap for radical and comprehensive banking reforms, which begins with working to cancel certain things. So basically, it's an electronic platform for foreign transfers, which was implemented, and it's basically in its first stage. But they say during the year of 2024 and up until right now, 95% of the transfer process from the electronic platform to the correspondent banking mechanism directly between it and Iraqi banks has been achieved. So they're at that stage now that they said that they were going to get rid of the dollar auctions, et cetera, like that you're in a manner that we're aware of. They're basically getting to the system and getting the banks all ready to go to do all their trade outside of the central bank. In other words, the Iraqi banks and correspondent banks will be doing all the import, and they'll be the ones that will be doing the dollar transfers for imports, exports, and stuff like that. But ultimately, the Iraqi dinar will probably be on its own, as opposed to having any real significant necessary need for commercial trade inside of Iraq, because they're going to get rid of their multi-currency practice. And that's something, if you don't know about it, you'd have to go to the IMF and understand and read up all about that. We're not doing that tonight. But basically, they're saying it is going to happen before the end of the year. They don't say what day. They just don't. They've been saying it before the end of the year or within the end of the year. But now they're still focusing on more like before the end of the year. That's just for that last 5%. Okay, they have 13 banks that are already set up. But I'm going to move forward. It says basically there's been expectations and possible effects of an exchange rate and transfer operations to be baseless, but because the process will not be sudden or in one go at the end of this year. So in other words, something could happen and it's not going to all be finished in one go at the end of the year. It specifically says because the process will not be sudden or in one go at the end of this year. So heads up, anybody that's doing trade that isn't quite up to snuff or a par, be careful, because you might find yourself with some losses. Okay, so anyway, they're just basically not going to do it at one time. It says the central bank is basically found channels to transfer euros, channel yuan, Chinese yuan, Indian rupees, and the UAE dirhams through approved correspondent banks. We've known about that for quite a long time. It's been something that's been around since back into 2023. But hey, those 13 banks have actually begun to conduct transfer operations with that pre-audit mechanism that has been agreed upon and approved, in addition to transfers in the dollars. And who are they working with? They're working with the U.S. Treasury and U.S. Federal Reserve. So therefore, if they're saying they've begun this, they're actually doing it, and they have approval because they meet the criteria of international standards, etc. It says providing channels for personal transfers for legitimate purposes. So that's anybody that wants to travel, do all that stuff. It says external purchases through electronic payment channels. Another way of doing it, electronic payments across borders. Global transfer companies. Okay, global transfer companies. They have cash sales for travelers, of course, paying cash dollars for incoming transfers to the parties and purposes specified in the central bank's published instructions. So when they say published instructions, it means that people and traders, they don't have any choice. They're going to abide by the rules. Okay, we've talked about this a lot. So the central bank stresses that it has placed foreign transfer operations and meeting dollar demands on sound tracks, consistent with international practices and standards, the anti-money laundering and terrorist financing law. All right, so they go on to say it's proven that the reality of the price stability and control of inflation. So they have control, they've proven it, and of inflation. So this isn't where, Iraq's not in a situation with runaway inflation. So we don't have to worry about some of the things that you hear on the internet. The three-letter word, I won't even mention it. But the new reform map is a result of these efforts previously made by the central bank. It has been working on for a year and 8 months. So they basically have been on this process, like I said, well, almost as long as Al-Sudani has been in office. It's about as long as the Ministerial Council of Economics has been in place. You guys remember that's the highest executive authorities in Iraq, okay, that are there in Baghdad-Kurdistan today and yesterday. So basically they have a new audit mechanism that's been put in place by the international company that's facilitating this. The process has been finalized and is being restarted. So the central bank has continuously urged the opening of relations with correspondent banks because the Iraqi bank, without having external correspondence, is considered a local bank and cannot open to the world. So the central bank is telling you that specifically, if you're not on the platform, you're not doing what they're doing properly, you're not going to be able to do business with the world. But that implication right there alone should have you going, he just said what? They're talking about doing banking with the world. They're going to have an international acceptable IMF compliant exchange rate. They haven't told us what that is yet, but we're going to hopefully find out. Central bank sells more than 250 million daily at the official price. They go on to say that this means that the bank covers foreign trade, explains there's no inflation or price increases. And they're just basically saying there's great praise in all meetings with international organizations, including the International Monetary Fund, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, for these transformations, the management, and the organization of these external transfer process in the Central Bank of Iraq at the present time. So the largest entities in the world that deal with the function of moving money across borders and payments is all set. They're praising Iraq for how far they've come and what they've done. They're doing that now. They did this 2 days ago, or what day was that? Well, this came out, I guess, early Sunday, but that's when I printed it. But anyway, we're going to find out. It could have been the day before that. But anyway, it says that those entities are in line with Iraq. They're happy about it. And so basically what they're saying is that these operations were suspected by an independent external audit office. So that's big. So could that have been Ernst & Young, K2, KPMG probably, some of which have been completed while we await the completion of these audits in order to determine the overall picture and classify the nature of any problems or these problems, how procedures will be carried out regarding them later. So they're obviously working on it. They know that they're probably going to have some challenges. And Samir al-Nasuri, who is the one that was authoring this, basically gave an in-depth update. I highly recommend you guys read it. It has 18 months of information that they talk about. Monetary, economic, financial, and banking reforms have been effectively completed. Okay, so payment channels, global money transfer companies, all involved. Everything for travelers. Basically, the correspondent banks have the ability to facilitate and cover foreign trade. What are they going to do with that? They're just not going to have to use the central bank in the manner that they have in the past. That's going to go away. The central bank has a function, and it hasn't always been the function the way they've had these dollar auctions. That's going to go away. They've told you it's going to go away. They told people on the ground, the people that are in the parallel market, that illegal black market, if you will, that change is coming. And if they haven't gotten on board by now and they lose, I think that's on them. So that's pretty fascinating that we see that report. It's big. That's about 4 or 5 pages long. But you can get it all in with Militiaman and Crew at Patreon. Here's one that says, the headline, I should say, is Al-Sudani, direct discourse is our permanent approach to building trust with the citizens. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani stated that the direct discourse is our permanent approach to building trust with our citizens. So in his speech today, he continues to say that they're taking the same approach with higher momentum and unwavering determination towards building a strong, unified, independent Iraq. And an independent Iraq is a good thing. The government is everyone's government. That means the whole country, right? And its success and ability to the aspirations of Iraqis. And what are they going to try to do? Achieve development, prosperity, and it all will benefit all of the people as well. So ultimately, al-Sudani's just got an unwavering approach. He's cleaning up and unifying the country. As you can tell, they're trying to unify. Well, they have a unified treasury account. They want to unify the Kurds, Kurdistan region with Baghdad, financial cooperation, all kinds of things. You're going to see some really good stuff before I finish this tonight. Saleh comes in and has some brilliant stuff. So enjoy. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. Al-Sudani's advisor, okay, and I think this one is Saleh, so you might hear of him today. The visit of the Iraqi Economic Council delegation is important to enhance transparency and cooperation with the Kurdistan region. The Iraqi Prime Minister's advisor, he confirms that the visit of the Iraqi Ministerial Council of Economics, that's the MCOE that you've heard me talk about. In this particular case, it's the MCOE for Economic Affairs delegation to the Kurdistan region, reflects positively on the level of following up on the implementation of the general budget law, especially in the articles that are linked to organizing the financial and economic issues of the Kurdistan region and enhancing transparency and cooperation with the Kurdistan region. They go on to say there's importance of this visit. He says, especially in the financial, banking, and economic affairs that are related to the implementation of public policies and the coordination of federal mechanisms and procedures and their governance in line with the paths of the state's government program. I'm pretty sure that's fairly deep, but federal mechanisms, I'm wondering if that's one of their new words for their new exchange rate. But it doesn't say exchange rate, but federal mechanisms, we'll see. The instructions of the implementing the federal general budget law, especially Article 11 of that law, are related articles to organizing the financial and economic issues of the region. So they have some specifics. They have law, I think it's law number 13 of 2023, which is what? The tripartite budget. And it's according to the Prime Minister's advisor of Economic Affairs who's talking about this. He goes on and says that a high-level economic delegation, which gains great importance in enhancing transparency and close cooperation between the federal government and the regional government in a way that serves and enhances common national interests of the country. So al-Sudani and everybody is looking forward to doing what? Serving the people. So the Kurdistan Regional Government Prime Minister Masroor Barzani, kind of the top dog over there in Kurdistan, it says a delegation of Iraqi Minister Council for Economic Affairs at the Saad, Abdullah base for official occasions happened in Erbil. So that's where everybody was at, is at the Saad base. It says the Iraqi Ministry of Finance had set some objectives of and for the visit of the delegation for that Ministerial Council of Economic Affairs to Erbil. And they basically are stating that they want to resolve problems between Baghdad and Erbil in accordance with the Constitution. So constitutional rights is a focus. Strengthening cooperation between the federal government, the Kurdistan Regional Government in economic and financial fields. And they just basically reiterate again, they want to resolve these outstanding issues according to the Constitution and applicable laws. So that's pretty big. And they want to develop the relationship between Baghdad and Erbil in a way that serves, of course, all of the people. So I take it pretty serious at those meetings today. They don't get too in depth of what those meetings were about, but they do describe that they were that there was backstage or there was back room meetings after the fact, and I would imagine who wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall to listen to some of that? I would. Here goes the finance. Finance announces the results of the meeting of the Ministerial Council for the Economy in the Kurdistan region. And so basically they're talking about in this article, I believe, is going to be considered financial reconciliation. You got regional reconciliation, you got global reconciliation, but in this particular case, between the two entities, Kurdistan and Baghdad, they're talking about financial reconciliation. It says the bilateral meetings between the Ministerial Council of the Economy and the Economic Council of the Kurdistan region, so those two, right? They all met. They've been launched in this presence of the Prime Minister of the Kurdistan region, Masroor Barzani, where the discussions focus on mechanisms to enhance financial cooperation between the two parties and reach sustainable solutions to the outstanding financial issues. So there you go. Discussions are taking place with the framework government within efforts enhancing cooperation between the federal government and the Kurdistan region, with joint files such as salaries for the employees, the region's budget, border crossings, in addition to coordination with customs and tax policies, are among the most important issues affecting the stability of the Iraqi economy. So the Minister of Finance, I believe they're talking about Taif Sami here, because she was there, all right? You guys realize that when I said the Ministerial Council of Economics, they have executive authority to do business and to make sure things are right, especially by the Constitution, because they have a legal authority and they have them with them. So, okay, so the discussions represent a historic opportunity to achieve financial reconciliation between the federal government and the Kurdistan region. Taif Sami stressed that the enhancing financial cooperation between the two parties and reaching sustainable solutions to the outstanding financial issues is ongoing, noting that they are agreeing, or they may be agreeing, on a fair mechanism for distributing oil revenues, sounds like the oil and gas, border crossings, sounds like the Iskata system, that will contribute to enhancing confidence and economic stability in the country. So they really do just get down to the nitty-gritty. They're talking about some big important files. This article is called "The Democrat Reveals the Backstage of the Meeting of the Ministerial Delegation." I mentioned that just a minute ago. Ultimately, what is this? It says a member of the Kurdistan region reveals the backstage details of the meetings of the Ministerial Delegation for the Economy in Erbil and agreements, requests that resulted from it from both sides. They basically say the delegation discussed very important financial administrative issues. They confirm that the region sends approximately 70, 80 billion dinars from border crossing revenues monthly to the Treasury. So that's back to the Federal Ministry of Finance. So they're doing what they said they were going to do, it sounds like. It says the appointment of joint committees between the center and the region to overcome the obstacles between the two sides and submit a comprehensive report to the head of the Democratic Party, Masoud Barzani, and Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani for the purposes of signing. So it sounds like they've got it ready to be placed between those two for a signature. So whether that happened today or not, don't know. We're going to see. Financial entitlements of the Kurdistan region will be determined according to its share in the federal budget. I'm sure that's a constitutional aspect of things that are happening to come. On a little bit of a sidebar note, look, al-Sudani and his country, when they talk about movement of the development road project and all those different things, they're talking about large, big businesses. And so here's this article that comes in before I get to the good stuff, I think, is that Baker Hughes, we talked about some companies that were coming in. Baker Hughes is one of the largest companies in the world that specializes in energy and oil services. So look, it says here the Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received the chairman of the board of directors of Baker Hughes, a company specialized in oil and gas, and its CEO, Lorenzo Simonelli, and his accompanying delegation. Al-Sudani stressed, this is Al-Sudani talking, Baker Hughes is one of the 4 largest companies in the world specializing in energy and oil services, pointing out the government's keenness on the company's presence in Iraq, which was invited to expand investment in it through cooperation with the government or the private sector in the field of oil and gas, noting that the Iraqi market is becoming a promising market and that the government is planning major projects, no doubt, especially integrated projects in the oil, gas, and petrochemical sectors. So one of the largest, 4th largest or one of 4 largest companies in the world is knocking on Sudani's door, or vice versa. The Prime Minister refers back to what? The development path I mentioned. That includes projects to transport oil and gas, of course, stressing that the importance of completing these projects that the company is working on in Iraq, especially the Nasiriyah oil field in which the company is investing to extract associated gas with a capacity of 200 million standard cubic feet. You mathematicians probably could figure that out, which is hoped to be finalized and completed in 2026. So that's just a little over a year maybe. Okay. Baker Hughes delegation confirmed their commitment to the government and their desire to invest in the Iraq and oil and gas sectors. So there's a commitment from these guys. They have come to put the final touches on a strategic framework agreement with the Ministry of Oil. And let's see, it says, as well as sign memorandums of understanding in the field of gas and invest in the gas platform that will be established in the Grand Port of Fa, expressing their desire to finance some of the projects. So the Grand Port of Fa, gas to move where? Through probably Iraq into Turkey and into Europe. Okay, this is strategic stuff, you guys. There's a lot of reasons why they're doing this. One of them is to save money. So we'll see how that turns out. So here's an article this is fascinating, and we're going to get to the last one, but this is from the Prime Minister's advisor, Saleh. I've always taken a shine to Nasuri we had earlier on, the first report, and Saleh, because they're trusted, they've been around a long time, and they literally are the right-hand men of al-Sudani for specific reasons and for other entities, finance ministry, etc. They have good advice, and they tell it like it is, and they probably keep very, very, very consistent. So I say kudos to those 2 gentlemen. The central bank's decisions to contribute to reducing inflation rates in the country. So Saleh, he's the financial advisor, of course, to Mohammed Saleh. One of the things that they're talking about, and you're going to see a theme in this for the next 2 articles, and which is fascinating, and you got to realize, why is Saleh, the financial advisor, talking so much about For instance, enhancing the value of the local currency. Right? Isn't that what we're waiting for, enhancing that value? I think we are. Soleil said in a statement to the news agency that central banks' policies play a major role in the stability of the currency. Now, it's still talking about currency, which achieves harmony between the internal value of the currency and the external value. So they're talking about what? Value of the currency. Explaining that decisions to raise or reduce interest rates, a component of value, as part of monetary policy work will undoubtedly reflect on reducing inflation. They've had very little inflation, okay? And now they're talking about still even reducing it, possibly even more, okay? And maintaining the stability of what? The value of the Iraqi currency. He adds that booming and sustainable economic growth in GDP contributes to enhancing the value and stability of the currency, noting that the real factors affecting the strength of the national currency include high productivity, high employment of the labor force, in addition to real investment, innovation, especially technological development, which enhances the value of the currency, all of which are factors generated by the real sector in the economy or national development policy. He points out the importance of political stability, the strength and governance of the administrative system, which are important behavioral factors in enhancing confidence in their national currency. So look, Soleil is openly talking about the value of their local currency, internal, external value, reducing inflation, stability of the value of currency, strength of the national currency, enhancing the value of their currency. It's off the charts. They talk about being historic. I'm pretty sure with language like that, I'm looking forward to something that's going to be very historic. The last but not least is fascinating because it's a reiteration from Soleil, but it's in a little different format than what I just read. It says, are the central bank's decisions enough to stop inflation and strengthen the currency in Iraq? Question. The news outlet basically says part of the Iraqi government their efforts to improve economic situation and stabilize their local currency. The financial prime minister advisor says that the central bank's decisions in reducing inflation rates and strengthening the value of the national currency is part of that process. What's the role of the bank? He says the role of the bank in Iraq is what? Stabilizing the currency. I mean, it just keeps going on. Including decisions raise or lower interest rates play an important role in stabilizing local currency. He explains that these policies aim to achieve a balance between the internal and external value of the currency. Economic growth, for instance, what's it all about? Strengthening the currency's value. Soleil points out that sustainable economic growth strengthens the currency's value. Stimulating productivity and economic growth. He goes on that technology and innovation can play a crucial role in improving productivity and economic growth, which enhances the value of the currency. I don't know about you guys, but I think he's just knocking it out of the park by talking about this stuff. Here's the last bit. It says importance of political and administrative stability. It says that Soleil explains that the political stability and the strength of the administrative system are important factors to what? Enhancing confidence in the national currency. Many people wonder about the extent of the political and administrative stability in Iraq, especially in a lot of ongoing political crises and administrative challenges, but yet achieving political stability may be essential to achieving the desired economic goals. And I'm not so sure that they don't have economic stability. We know that Mandelawi is still the deputy of the House of Representatives. They don't have a president in that yet. So is one in the wings? Is one going to show up here shortly? But it's based off the Constitution. They can still do laws and all the things that are necessary to run the country because of it's in their Constitution that can happen to facilitate the needs of the people. And so that's powerful stuff. I'm not so sure how many times they mentioned currency in this article, but I think they did just this one article. The reiteration is like 9 times. So they're talking about, stabilize the currency, you guys, stabilizing it, stabilizing it, strengthening it, all of the above. So enjoy. Hey, you guys, I don't know what else to say, but thank you very much for being with us on this Sunday afternoon, and enjoy. Please hit that like and subscribe if you like my content, and of course, to help keep this channel moving forward and with the extras that you can get, please do what you can. Help us out. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content, subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.